For developers wishing to create high-volume, low-latency use cases like multimodal comprehension, categorization, summarisation, and more, the most common Gemini model is 1.5 Flash. As of August 12th, they are slashing the input price by 78% to $0, 0.751 million tokens, and the output price by 71% to $0. 3 over 1 million tokens for prompts under 128K tokens, reductions that are cascaded throughout the 128K tokens tier in addition to caching, to further reduce the cost of this strategy. The lengthy context and multimodal capabilities of Gemini 1.5 Flash could result in significant cost reductions for developers when combined with technologies like context caching. Let's get started. Google created Gemini, a generative artificial intelligence chatbot that was once known as Bard. It was created in direct response to OpenAI's ChatGPT's explosive growth and is based on the large language model, LLM, of the same name. It was first introduced in March 2023 in a restricted capacity before being made available in additional nations in May. It was first based on the LaMDA family of big language models, then on Palm. LaMDA was created and made public in 2021, but due to extreme caution, it was not made available to the general public. Google officials were taken aback by OpenAI's November 2022 debut of ChatGPT and its subsequent popularity, which caused them to become alarmed and prompted a comprehensive response in the months that followed. Following workforce mobilization, the company launched Bard in February 2023, which was upgraded to the Gemini LLM in December and featured prominently during the 2023 Google I/O presentation in May. February 2024 saw the unification of Bard and Duet AI under the Gemini brand, along with the release of an Android app. Reactions to Gemini have been meek. It came under fire in February 2024 when users on social media claimed that it was producing historically incorrect depictions of historical figures as people of color. Conservative pundits criticized the site for what they called wokeness and claimed that it was biased. OpenAI introduced ChatGPT, a chatbot built on the large language model, LLM family, in November 2022. After its launch, ChatGPT attracted interest from all around the world and went viral on the internet. Google officials issued a code red alert, reallocating multiple teams to support the company's artificial intelligence (AI) initiatives, concerned about ChatGPT's possible danger to Google search. The CEO of Alphabet, which owns Google, Sundar Pichai, was widely cited as issuing the alarm, although he later refuted this to the New York Times. The co-founders of Google, Larry Page, and Sergey Brin, who had resigned from their positions as Alphabet's co-CEOs in 2019, were unexpectedly called to urgent meetings with business leaders to discuss Google's response to ChatGPT. For the first time in many years, in February 2023, Brin asked to see the Google source code. LaMDA, a prototype LLM, was unveiled by the business earlier in 2021, but it was not made public. Employees at an all-hands meeting asked Pichai and Google AI chief Jeff Dean if they thought LaMDA was a lost chance for the company to take on ChatGPT. They replied that while the company had capabilities similar to ChatGPT, moving too quickly in that area would pose a serious reputational risk because Google is significantly larger than OpenAI. Google staff were told to expedite work on a ChatGPT competitor and conduct extensive testing of Apprentice Bard and other chatbots after DeepMind CEO Demis Hassabis, a sibling business of Google, made vague allusions to plans for a ChatGPT rival in January 2023. During Google's investor call for quarterly earnings in February, Pichai reassured investors that the company planned to increase LaMDA's availability and applications. A multimodal and more potent LLM dubbed as Google's largest and most capable AI model was unveiled on December 6, 2023. Bard was equipped with a modified version of the mid-range Gemini Pro, while Bard Advanced was scheduled to be powered by the bigger Gemini Ultra in 2024. At that time, Bard was receiving an average of about 220 million monthly visitors, according to the Wall Street Journal. In January 2024, Google terminated its agreement with Appen, and the following month, Bard was finally able to produce images thanks to Google Brain's Imagen 2 text-to-image model. Bard and Duet AI were combined under the Gemini brand on February 8, 2024. An Android mobile app was released, and the service was incorporated into the iOS Google app. While Assistant remained a standalone service, Gemini replaced Assistant as the default virtual assistant on Android devices for users who downloaded the app. In addition, Google introduced Gemini Advanced with Ultra 1.0, which is accessible with a Google One AI Premium subscription. It also integrated Gemini into the Android Messages app and declared a collaboration with Stack Overflow. Traditionally, prominent subjects like Android 15 and the Pixel 8a were relegated to separate events the following day and the previous week, respectively, while Gemini once again stole the show during the 2024 Google I/O keynote. Google said that Workspace, Android, Chrome, Photos, and Photos would all be integrated with Gemini. The talk was dubbed a tsunami of new AI features by the Washington Post. Google upgraded Gemini Advanced to the Gemini 1.5 Pro language model and unveiled Gemini Live, a voice chat feature, and Gems, a tool for building personalized chatbots. At the Made by Google keynote in 2024, Gemini performed once more. Google revealed that while Google Assistant will still be available as an option, Gemini will take over as the primary virtual assistant starting with the Google Pixel 9. Additionally, Google introduced Gemini Live, a voice chat feature. When Gemini, then called Bard, was first released, it garnered a mixed reception. The Verge's James Vincent discovered that it was quicker than both ChatGPT and Bing Chat, but he also pointed out that the absence of Bing-like footnotes was more or less both a blessing and at the same time a curse, pushing Google to take more chances with its AI experiments. Google insisted that Bard was not a search engine, but his colleague David Pierce was not impressed by its dull and occasionally wrong answers. He added that Bard's user interface resembled a search engine, which may provide a challenge for Google. Bard's comments are guarded, which is why Shirin Ghaffari of Vox termed it dry and uncontroversial, and Cade Metz of the New York Times called it more cautious than ChatGPT. Jeffrey A. Fowler, a Washington Post columnist, gave Bard a mixed review, pointing out that while it behaved cautiously, it might exhibit prejudice influenced by the internet. A journalist called her interaction with Bard the most bizarre of the three. Sabrina Ortiz, writing for ZDNet, felt that ChatGPT and Bing Chat were more capable overall than Bard. Following the announcement of extensions, Kevin Roos of the New York Times called the update a bit of a mess and unimpressive, while Lakshmi Varanasi of Business Insider observed that Bard frequently leaned more towards flattery than facts. During their 60-minute discussion, CBS News correspondent Scott Pelley described Gemini as unsettling in his interview with Xiao, Google Senior Vice President James Manyika, and Pichai. Its lack of artistic skill didn't impress Ethan Mollick, an associate professor at the University of Pennsylvania's Wharton School. The New York Times tested ChatGPT and Gemini's capacity to do duties typically performed by human assistants, and found that ChatGPT performed noticeably better than Gemini. NewsGuard, a service that evaluates the reliability of news reports, discovered that Gemini was superior to ChatGPT in disproving well-known conspiracies. According to an Associated Press article, Gemini and other chatbots tend to produce false and misleading information that threatened to disenfranchise voters. Some advancements in AI Studio and the Gemini API. Gemini 1.5 Flash saw a significant cost reduction, with input token costs falling by 78% and output token costs falling by 71%. Gemini 1.5. All developers now have access to Flash tweaking, adding support for queries in more than 100 new languages to the Gemini API. Increased access to AI Studio for users of Google Workspace, updated UI and API references, documentation, and more. Gemini 1.5 Flash reduced in cost. Increased language availability for the Gemini API. Developers worldwide can now prompt and receive outputs in the language of their choice, as they are expanding the language understanding for both the Gemini 1.5 Pro and Flash variants to cover over 100 languages. By using the Gemini API, this should remove the model language block finish reasons. Google Workspace users can access Google AI Studio. Millions of people now have frictionless access to Google AI Studio, since Google Workspace users may use it without needing to enable any additional settings by default. AI Studio access will continue to be managed by account administrators. The distribution of Gemini 1.5 Flash tweaking is now finished. Gemini 1.5 Flash text tweaking is now available to all developers using Google AI Studio and the Gemini API. Through tuning, developers can add more data to base models to enhance their performance for specific tasks. This improves the model's accuracy on tasks and helps decrease the prompt's context size, latency, and sometimes cost. Better documentation for developers. The foundation of developing the Gemini API is the developer documentation. We just changed the content, navigation, style, and feel, and created a redesigned API reference, among other things. Vision in PDF files and text interpretation. Text and vision comprehension of PDFs is now supported by the Gemini API and AI Studio. When processing a PDF that contains graphs, photos, or other non-text visual content, the model leverages its built-in multimodal capabilities. You may test this out with the Gemini API or with Google AI Studio. Improvements to Google AI Studio. In the past several weeks, we have made numerous enhancements to AI Studio, such as reorganizing keyboard shortcuts, permitting the user to drag and drop photos into the user interface, cutting down on loading times by around 50%, incorporating prompt recommendations, and much more. The good news is that there will soon be more changes to the documents in Gemini 1.5 Flash. Greetings from our channel. Please use the like and subscribe buttons for additional videos if you liked this one. Don't forget to switch on the notification bell to receive notifications when new videos are uploaded.